Hey everybody, it's Karen. Welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time stopping by, you're at the Loft, and that makes you wicked smart. So today is the Tissue Paper Mystery Challenge Spring Edition that I co-host seasonally with my sweet friend Lisa from Lovin's the Life. And both of us will have the playlist in our description boxes, so make sure that you check out the other creators to get some great inspiration on some fun things to do with tissue paper. In today's video, I'm going to show you some Easter and spring decor. I'm going to show you a quick little Mother's Day gift idea. And I do a lot of wedding work this time of year, and I have some cute ideas for a wedding and shower. I also have a super cute bonus DIY at the end. So if you stay with me to the end, I'm going to show you something new and we're going to try it together. So get ready. Here we go. All right. So coincidentally, just by chance, I got my tissue paper from Charlene at the Crafty Art Shack, and I sent my tissue paper to Charlene. So I open up the first one and I see this pretty black and white, and I know I can do something with that. That's classic, black and white. And the second envelope has this cute little farmer's truck tissue paper. But when I open it up, I see this really pretty pinky, peachy, flowery tissue paper that I love. But who doesn't love a cute little farm truck, right? I know there's something cute I can do with that. And this third envelope had some sunflower tissue paper in it. And I know I can probably use that for summer or maybe even early fall. Although I do like it with this black and white. So I don't know. We'll see in a couple of days what it brings. Here's DIY number 1. Okay, guys, so for this DIY, you're going to need a plastic egg from the Dollar Tree. And they come in different sizes, from little to big. But for this project, I used the middle size. And I'm sorry that I didn't have the before, but here's a quick peek at the after. So I used the middle size, and you want to make sure to use the half that's rounded, not with the little flat part on it. Okay, so I took it out to my garage and I gave it a coat of white spray paint along with one of the Dollar Tree chunky candlesticks that you'll see right here, because this is the video of lost footage. Just going to warn you. So I was inspired by this pretty springy flowery paper, and I'm going to decoupage it into the middle of my egg. And I'm going to use the peachy tissue paper for the back side. And I measured from the top to the bottom, and I cut out these petal-shaped pieces of tissue paper just to make it a little bit easier to manage to get the strips inside there. And if you saw our first tissue paper challenge, you saw how I also did that with pumpkins in the fall. It also works for fabric. If you cut your fabric in these like petal-shaped pieces, then you don't get a lot of bulk and excess at the top. So I'm just going to go in with this last piece. I'm going to do the back off camera. You won't see me do all the peachy paper. And this is where I'm really sad, because I did some work with some clay, some air-dried clay in this video, but this was the first time I ever used a silicone mold, okay? But I lost all that footage. So this is all the footage I have of me actually working with the clay, and I did not use a mold for this. So for this, I rolled out a piece, just like when we were kids. You know, you roll it out with your hands into a long little like sausage kind of a shape. And I'm working on a silicone mat. And I flatten it out with this roller till I get it to about, I don't know, maybe about 1.5 inches wide. And I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of winging it. And I cut these little scalloped edges on one side, because this is how I cut my felt when I make my felt flowers. So I thought I would try it with the air dry clay and see if it worked. So I just started rolling it up kind of loosely. I don't want to make it too tight, because I want to be able to play with the petals when I'm done with it. And I kind of squish the bottom in both directions just to kind of make it look like a bud or a stem or whatever, and give me like a little handle to work on. And you see me here just kind of bending the little petals back and opening it up a little bit. And I'm going to cut the bottom to have a nice flat back, because these clay flowers are going to go on the back of the eggshell. Okay? So sorry that you're going to miss all that. So here's a piece that I took out of the mold, and I'm going to glue that to the middle of this candlestick holder. And I'm going to let that dry in place. It doesn't take very long for this stuff to dry. And then I went in and I gave it all a coat of white paint. And here's all the fun you missed. I had so much fun playing with this clay, making leaf shapes and just rolling little balls to make like little berries, and playing around with different textures. And it was really fun, and I will definitely use it again in another video. And you can see down on the bottom where I had to add a little bit to make it level so that it will sit on the base. And then I did some molding around the front also to match the candlestick. Now last year when I made this egg, I used twine. I didn't have clay. So I go in and I give everything a coat of white paint, and then I go in with my antique wax and some water, and I want to get it really watered down because I want it to be able to get into all the nooks and crannies, but I want it to be very faded and not very dark. And then I'm going to go over it all with a dry brush of white. And my thought process was that I wanted it to look like old dried out wood. Like maybe these bunnies collected pine cones and bits of bark mulch and stuff to make like their little bunny nest. You know how kids make like little fairy gardens? So that's kind of where my brain was going, and the look that I was going for. I wanted it to look old and woodsy. So I'm not going to make you watch me do all of this, because it's quite tedious to get into all the nooks and crannies. Just make sure that you use a nice soft brush when you do that. And then here I went with the white chalk paint over all of it to give it some distressing and to make it look worn and aged a little bit. And I did the same thing here, and here it is. Oh my gosh, this was so fun, you guys. I'm really so sorry that you missed all of that. But like I said, we'll work with it again because it's just too pretty. So I take this mason jar lid and I give that a coat of the antique wax. And the rim of the Dollar Tree candlestick fits perfectly in this groove of this mason jar lid. So I'm not even going to glue that on top, because I want to be able to maybe use that candlestick for another project, but it fits on there so well that I don't even need to glue it down. So here I am, I'm making my little bunny nest, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some little flowers just to kind of bring out some of the colors and the flowers in that tissue paper.
Leave me, baby, don't wanna fall again. This just hurt me. Just think about it, but you hold me.
Okay, Okay, so now you can see how I put it all together here in our final reveal.
Think about it. Maybe separate is better, better. I will love you till forever, forever. Ride it, baby. When you need someone to cover you, the weather. Now I won't come back. You know my answer, my answer. Now I won't come back. You know my answer, my answer. Now I won't come back. You know my answer, my answer. Now I won't come back. You know my answer, my answer. Now I won't come back.
Okay guys, let me know what you think of this one. And let's get into DIY number 2. So you're going to need this wooden frame with the heart cut out from Dollar Tree and one of their square wood planks. And I've painted the frame white, and I've also given it a coat of Mod Podge and let that completely dry. And I've given the square piece of wood a coat on the front and a coat on the back. And you'll see why later on. So I'm going to take this pretty black and white Baroque pattern, maybe, I think they might call it. And I'm going to do my favorite decoupaging method, which is the iron-on method, because you virtually get absolutely no wrinkles. And I'm also going to do the edges because I want this tissue paper to wrap around the sides. So I also put some Mod Podge there, and I made sure I cut it long enough to wrap around. And I went in with my file and sanded off all the edges and cleaned everything up. And again, we have some air dry clay footage that you missed, but I made a border and I glued it onto this frame in a heart shape and let that dry. And I want that to look like a little wood frame. And here you can see I gave it some antique wax, and I made this little saying on my Cricut. This is something that I grew up with in my home as a child. My mother had this in a frame somewhere, and I'm going to mount it kind of off center. That's why I put the Jenga blocks down, because I want it raised. And now you'll see why I also painted the back of that black square, because it will show. So I didn't want it to be messy. And here's the final reveal.
Leave me, baby, don't wanna fall again. This just hurt me. Just think about it, but you hold me like you don't wanna break.
It's so true, right? They really do grow up in a blink of an eye. So here we are with DIY number 3. So I'm going to take this really cute truck tissue paper, and I'm going to remove one of the images. And I'm going to use the wet brush method, and I'm going to go around the perimeter of this image and get it wet so that it just easily tears apart. And I'm doing this so that I have a nice frayed edge that will blend in nicely with my background. So I got these little peat pots on Amazon, about 10 in a pack, fairly reasonable. And I painted a couple of them up white. And I'm going to put the little truck on this one. And I'm just going to lay it down and get that on there. And then I'm going to go over the whole pot with a coat of Mod Podge, just so it has the same finish on it, because I'm going to go in afterwards and I'm going to give it some distressing with some antique wax.
me, baby, don't wanna fall again.
Okay, so I'm just going to go in here and dampen my fingers a little bit and gently press that all into the texture of this little peat pot. And just rub it, gently rubbing my fingers all around. And I did a couple extra. And so this black and white one is going to be for my mom. And her favorite flower is a daisy. So presto, I just happen to have some pink daisies on hand, and I filled that up with a bunch of lamb's hair and some little white sprigs of something that I got at the Dollar Tree. And then I also did one with that super cute pinky peachy tissue paper that I love, and I thought that would look really cute filled up with some carrots. I love these carrots from the Dollar Tree. I can't get enough of them this time of year. They're so cute. So then I take the little one with the flower truck. And the inspiration for this arrangement was the flowers in the back of the bed of the truck. There was some light pink, there was some dark pink, there was some creamy whites, and there were a couple of different little bits of greenery here and there. So I wanted this arrangement to look like you just kind of pick some flowers off of the truck and you threw together this cute little arrangement. And I did go in and paint those berries. Those were green. And here is the final reveal.
Leave me, baby, don't wanna fall again. This just hurt me. Just think about it, but you hold me like you don't wanna break. I need some space.
I just love these colors. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And let's get into DIY number 4. Okay, so I do a lot of wedding work this time of year. And I'm going to take this watercolor paper and I am going to saturate it with the brush method with some water. But you really have to do it a couple times. I'm going to kind of bend it and get the water in the grooves and keep going back and forth, working at it a little bit until I can get it to tear. You have to work at it a little bit. It's pretty sturdy paper. So I'm going to do that until all of my sides are ripped. Okay, so you can see that I get that done. And I have another one with just plain straight sides that I cut. And I take one of these clipboards from Dollar Tree and remove the little clip from the top, coat it with some white chalk paint and some Mod Podge and let it completely dry. Now, if you've been with us for a while, you know that this is the tissue paper that started the whole tissue paper challenge. And this is the package it comes in from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to take a little piece, I'm going to lay it down, I'm going to put my parchment paper down, and I'm going to iron that on. You know, my favorite way to get it done.
Leave me, baby, don't wanna fall again.
Okay, I got my edges all cleaned up, and now I'm going to go in with some antiquing wax, and I'm going to concentrate on the sides of this little clipboard. I really want to cover up the white and get that darkened up, and then I will brush a little bit onto the sides and the corners and very, very lightly go over the whole thing. So I'm going to let the music play out while you watch me do my thing.
Leave me, baby, don't wanna fall again. This just hurt me. Just think about it, but you hold me like you don't wanna break.
Okay, so you can see there that I went around the edges of that little piece of ripped watercolor paper and over the clip a little bit with some of the antique wax. So now I'm going to show you my handwriting and how to do the foligraphy again, my favorite. And we're going to make a cute table number that would be so cute for a wedding or for a shower. I have seen this theme a lot with stationery, thank you cards, invitations, etc. I've seen this type of botanical print used a lot this season, and I just love it. I can't get enough. So cute. And then I'm going to go in with the other card, and I'm going to do that same brush method with the water, and I just want to get one individual sprig, and I'm going to glue that up into the corner of the card that has the straight edges. I'm going to get that on there carefully, and this card is what is going to be on the seating chart with all the names of the guests. So they will go and they'll find their name, and then they'll find what table they're sitting at, and then they'll go find the cute little sign with their table number on it.
Leave me, baby, don't wanna fall again. This just hurt me. Just think about it, but you hold me like you don't wanna break. I need some space. Just think about it, maybe separate is better.
I end up taking that little sprig off the bottom corner because I needed the room for the names. And here you can see that at the wedding all set up in the final reveal.
Leave me, baby, don't wanna fall again. This just hurt me. Just think about it, but you hold me like you don't wanna break. I need some space. Just think about it, maybe separate is better. I will love you till forever.
And here you can see I added a little sprig to that card. I thought it was a little bare and it needed a little something. So DIY number 5. Since we have my favorite tissue paper out, I'm going to show you my favorite hack for these Dollar Tree wood cutouts. I take my Aleene's tacky glue and I take a whole pack and I clamp them together and glue them all up to make a chunky piece of wood. I like to paint them white and distress them. And last year I used my tissue paper on them. And look, they stand right straight up all by themselves. And I did it this year with these cute little new bunnies from Dollar Tree to get them to stand up on their own. And when I say I used every scrap of this tissue paper, I mean it. I took the little sprigs and I put just randomly on those little styrofoam bunnies. And here they are. These are the ones from last year. I love them. They're one of my favorite things from last spring that I did with this tissue paper. And it just started this whole obsession with this tissue paper. And I've been able to use it pretty much for every season now except for the summer. So stay tuned. I need to come up with a summer DIY with it. All right, you guys, here's our bonus DIY, and I am so excited to try this and take you along with me. So in my search for tissue paper, I sometimes feel a little pressure as a co-host to find something special. And I was on Zazzle online, and I came across this botanical tissue paper, and obviously you can tell why I fell in love with it. And I kind of wished in my head and said to myself, oh, that would make beautiful fabric. So I got this pillow cover, and I have filled it with some parchment paper, and I cut out a 15 by 15 inch square of this tissue paper, and we are going to try and decoupage onto fabric. Okay, now I know they make a fabric Mod Podge, okay, but I'm not going to be wearing this. I don't need to wash it. It's just going to be in my home sitting on my couch. And I did go to Michael's to see if they had some, and they were out of it. So I'm going to try this with my regular matte everyday Mod Podge, and you can see that I traced a little line around the tissue paper with some chalk. I don't know if you can see the line or not. It's just a guideline for me to go in and where to put my Mod Podge. Okay, so I'm not saturating it, but I'm giving it an even coat and making sure that I work it into the fibers of this pillow cover.
Leave me, baby, don't wanna fall again. This just hurt me. Just think about it, but you hold me like you don't wanna break.
Okay, so now I'm going to help it along, and I'm going to dry it a little bit with my heat gun so that we can get on with this process and see if it's going to work.
Forever, forever.
All right, so fingers crossed, here we go. I'm going to put my parchment paper down. I'm going to hold it down for a few seconds in the middle, work my way out to the edges, give it a check, hoping that it's working. Yes, it worked. I'm so excited. Give me a thumbs up if you're excited to see the end product here. So I'm going to get that all ironed up. And then I don't know if you can see the trim up in the right-hand corner. This is how I'm going to kind of finish off the edges. Okay. So I'm going to let this play out while you watch me finish this off after I give it a quick coat to seal it. I'm going to cut that trim and glue that all on, and wait till you see how cute this is when it's finished.
Leave me, baby, don't wanna fall again. This just hurt me. Just think about it, but you hold me like you don't wanna break. I need some space. Just think about it. Maybe separate is better. I will love it till forever.
Okay, so I get the length that I want it, and I'm going to line up the bottom edge of that banding with the edge of the tissue paper to cover up those edges. And there were some spots where you could see the Mod Podge had darkened the fabric a little bit. And you can see I tacked that down in the middle with my hot glue gun just to hold it in place while I use the Aleene's tacky glue to glue the rest of it on. And I'm going to do all four corners and get that finished up. And then you'll see how cute it looks when I get it all filled up and put it on my couch. So now I have one side for fall and one side for spring and summer. Now, is this a pillow I'm going to get cozy and cuddle up with? No, it feels a little bit like leather, but it has already given me some fun ideas for some other DIYs, like little makeup bags or a tote bag or something, right? And look how cute that little pom-pom fabric is. I love it. So that's it. And here's the final reveal.
Leave me, baby, don't wanna fall again. This just hurt me. Just think about it, but you hold me like you don't wanna break. I need some space. Just think about it, Maybe separate is better, better. I will love you till forever, forever.
What do you think? Isn't that so pretty? Let me know if you give it a try. And as always, thanks for watching, everybody. Come join me on Instagram. Show me the love. Do all the YouTubey things. You know what to do. See you in the next one.